Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your back porch professor, here to help you make sense of a rapidly changing world. We got some breaking news. This is from the Moscow Times, and the headline reads, Russian envoy warns of military response if Greenland conflict erupts. And the gist of the article is that Russia is threatening military action over Greenland. And it's happening right now as Trump doubles down on acquiring or even if necessary, annexing Greenland. And what's being reported here is that Russian Ambassador Vladimir Barbin just issued a rather chilling warning. If there's any military conflict over Greenland, if America were to take Greenland by force, Russia would respond militarily to that. Now, what's so fascinating here to me is that this isn't just some diplomatic bluster. This is Putin positioning Russia for what he calls a new world of civilization states, which means that we're entering into a world that's being reorganized around civilizational spheres. The orthosphere of Russia, the Sinosphere of China, the Indo-sphere of India, the Ottoman sphere of Turkey, the Shiite sphere of Iran. Many are arguing this is precisely what Israel is doing as we speak. Netanyahu is busy creating greater Israel to remake the Middle Eastern map with Israel at the geopolitical center. And then, of course, there's the Anglo sphere, the American civilizational sphere. And this threat about Greenland coming from Putin appears to be his response to Trump's threats about Ukraine, with Trump threatening that he's going to take significant retaliatory steps against Russia if Russia doesn't stop bombing Ukraine, right? What Putin, in effect, appears to be saying here with Greenland is, yo, Donald, if you think you can encroach into our civilizational sphere, guess what? We can encroach into yours. Two can play that game. I mean, it's a pretty bold move on Putin's part, for sure. Let me paint the picture of what's really at stake here, because it's so fascinating. Greenland isn't just a big chunk of ice, right? It's one of the most strategically important pieces of real estate on Earth. This island sits right between North America and Europe, controlling the crucial shipping routes that connect three continents. Moreover, Greenland contains 25 of the 34 critical minerals that power our modern world. We're talking about rare earth elements that make your smartphone work, lithium for your electric car batteries, uranium for nuclear power. Right now, China dominates the rare earth market, but acquiring Greenland would change everything. But it gets even better. Climate change, and I'm talking purely natural climate change that's been happening ever since the beginning of planet Earth, right? Climate change is melting Arctic ice. And that's opening up what's called the Northwest Passage, which is a shipping route that could cut 40% off the time it takes to transport goods between Asia and Europe. So whoever controls Greenland controls this trillion-dollar shipping lane. Now we can see President Trump isn't playing games when he says acquiring Greenland is absolute necessity for our national security. He's looking at the same intelligence briefings that show China and Russia circling like vultures around the Arctic. Trump understands something that, frankly, career politicians don't. America's enemies aren't waiting for permission slips, right? China is already investing billions in Greenland's infrastructure. Russia has 40 nuclear-powered icebreakers patrolling Arctic waters, while America has just 3. President Trump sees Greenland as America's northern fortress, a strategic position that would give us control over what's called the GIUK gap. So that's the maritime choke point between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. So this is where Russian submarines would have to pass to threaten the American mainland. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Putin isn't just concerned about Greenland. He's actually terrified of it. Part of Russia's nuclear deterrent strategy is hiding submarines under Arctic ice. If America controls Greenland, we control the approaches to Russia's most sensitive military installations. Again, we have to understand Russia's been militarizing the Arctic for decades now, building bases, deploying advanced missile systems, and positioning their northern fleet, which includes some of their most powerful nuclear submarines. And so this is where most people miss the bigger picture when it comes to Greenland and the Arctic. Putin isn't just playing traditional geopolitics. He's implementing what scholars call the civilizational state model. Instead of nation states competing within international laws governed by NATO and the globalist structures of the IMF and the WTO and the World Bank, we're seeing instead the rise of mass civilizational blocs that make their own rules within their own spheres. China calls it the Tianxia, or the mandate of heaven. Russia promotes orthodox civilization centered on Moscow. India is reawakening a Hindu nationalist world. These aren't just countries. They're entire civilizations claiming the right to reshape global order according to their values, not Western liberal principles. And here's the scary part for me. While many in America, the neocons in particular in DC, still think in terms of individual nation states and the liberal international order, more and more nations around the world are building civilizational alliances. China and Russia are cooperating in the Arctic like never before. They're conducting joint military exercises, sharing intelligence, coordinating their strategies to squeeze America out of the region so as to establish and protect their own civilizational hegemons. And while all of this is going on, Denmark is actually trying to position itself to try to push back against America and its bluster and so forth. But it's actually all pathetic. It's all for naught. They're literally this tiny little, they've literally got nothing to defend Greenland with. Denmark's current Arctic presence is frankly just a joke. They have 4 aging patrol boats, 1 surveillance plane, 12 dog sled patrols protecting an island 3 times the size of Texas. It's ridiculous. They're completely outgunned by Russian and Chinese capabilities in the region, not to mention US forces. Regardless, it's clear that with the latest threats, Putin continues to position Russia as the defender of a multipolar world order where American hegemony is finished. China's building the infrastructure to dominate the Arctic, and both are using Greenland as a testing ground for American resolve. At the same time, it appears that Trump is more intent than ever to acquire Greenland as the main pinnacle of Northern American civilizational security. And it's starting to rain here out there. So all of this is to say, the world is changing in ways we never imagined, and Greenland appears to be at the center of it. I'm going to go and get dry. God bless.